Hello friends, welcome. Friends, today morning I saw this article by Kiran Rathi. The headline of this article is DOT urges state government to use BSNL MTNL for enhanced data security. Now, it also talks about the revenue from government contract constitute a big part of the enterprise revenue for all private telcos and ISP. The adjusted gross revenue of the telecom industry from April to December stood at 2.3 lakh crores, with private players accounting for more than 92% of the share. Now, I will read out some of the portion of this article to you. This article talks about that BSNL is now becoming profitable because you might have already seen that the government of India has declared that in the last two quarters, that is Q3 and Q4, BSNL has shown profits, and though it is in the lower three digits, but they claim that this profitability of BSNL is because of the amount of investment which the government of India has been doing after the revival package. So there have been multiple revival packages, and those revival package has made BSNL profitable and improved the service quality of BSNL, and therefore it makes sense for other government agency other than the central government agency to start experiencing BSNL services. It will not only help the government telco to grow its profitability, but also will provide enhanced data security. Now, friends, the reason I'm doing this video is to talk about and analyze this whole request which the central government has made to the state government and how practical this request is to be implemented, and whether those state government agencies can really experience BSNL services or not, or there are constraints. Now, before I go and start explaining to you that whether those state agencies can really experience BSNL services, even if those services are suboptimal in nature, means they are not at par with the private operators, it can be a shade down. That also is fine, because if a government entity is trying to survive with so many people who are linked to that company in terms of employment, and the government has made so much amount of investment, probably it makes sense for the government to start utilizing its services, because it can't talk about mandating private operators to start providing services to the government entity. Because if you've seen that in past, Air India was a preferred government carrier, and whenever a government employee used to travel, there was a mandated requirement that he or she has to travel through Air India, and it worked pretty well for as far as Air India is concerned. Though Air India made huge amount of losses, that's a different point. But here also the similar strategy is trying to get followed, and I will analyze in this video that even if BSNL is now profitable, even when the government has made so much amount of investment, whether BSNL can provide services which is even 50% below the private operators, right? So that's what we are going to analyze. Now, friends, I will just read out certain portion of this article. There are many people who are raising concern that this is not the right thing to do. The government has made so much amount of investment, and BSNL is also a competing player, and they should not be given any preference. And then other operators have wafer thin margins. Still, if you read this, and then the government talks about the Neeraj Mittal, our DOT secretary, says that the BSNL has now become competitive in the telecom sector in the light of the cabinet decision passed. I request you to consider BSNL services, right? He requests. He does not make it mandatory. He is requesting. And ET has seen the copy of the letter, and BSNL and MTNL Mittal added that BSNL, which is now runs MTNL operation as well, would dedicate a separate one-stop nodal point to provide highest quality services, highest level of services to the state government, right? And then it says DOT suggestion could lead to private player missing out of a lucrative long-term government contracts. And it kind of goes on to discuss, how the ISP operators and the mobile operators will lose this opportunity, right? So friends, let's do the following. Let's go step by step and try analyze whether this is even a practical idea. Can BSNL even provide services, right? Forget about at par with the mobile operators, but can it even provide services? And will the state government, when they start experiencing BSNL landline and broadband and mobile services, will they be able to run their operation? Means they will be able to talk and even run their operations or not, So friends, what I am going to do is I am going to first talk about the BTS density, the tower density of BSNL. Now, if you look at this chart, which I maintain, because this is going to give us a, kind of a very good overview of the coverage of BSNL's network throughout the country. Because more towers you have, more coverage you have. If you have better coverage, then the chances of people taking your services is very high, right? So that is the first criteria is coverage. Now, if you look at this is a chart which I maintain in my website. And in this chart, what I have done is I have the total BTSs, right, on a monthly basis from starting from March to April. And then the 5G BTSs, BSNL does not have 5G connectivity. Rest of the BTS means that these are 4G, 3G and 2G. And these are towers. Now, if you see, we have got 8.28 lakh towers. Now, friends, as per my understanding, BSNL has around 1 lakh, maybe maximum 1 lakh towers. It was having 70K towers just recently. And if it has stretched, even if it has stretched with all the work and all the investment government of India has done, it can't go beyond 1 lakh tower. I can tell you with guarantee. So 1 lakh tower means that if you divide 1 divided by 8.28, this number comes out to be 12%. So BSNL's coverage, as far as the other operators, Vodafone Idea, Reliance Jio and Bharti Airtel is concerned, is 12%. Now, if I divide this 8.25 between Bharti Airtel and Reliance Jio and Vodafone Idea, I understand that roughly Vodafone Idea will have around 1.8 lakh towers, right? So if I subtract from 8.28 minus 1 lakh tower for BSNL, then 1.8 lakh towers for BSNL, we are left with 4.58 lakh towers. Here, the Reliance coverage will be a shade better. So you can imagine that 5.48 lakh towers, assume that Reliance has a shade better, which is 3 lakh tower, and rest is Bharti. BSNL does not even come close as far as coverage is concerned. The first is that BSNL does not have coverage at par with the mobile operators in terms of tower density. Forget about the BTS. Tower means more the number of towers, more coverage. So BSNL, which is also taking care of the rural interest of our country, do not have sufficient towers. So first is towers are not present. So therefore BSNL doesn't have coverage. So if BSNL does not have coverage, how can it cater for all the state government? It is not possible, right? So that is one. The second thing is, which I'm going to point out, very interesting thing, BSNL now have coverage map live. So if you go to the BSNL website and if you go to this link, you will see BSNL coverage map. So I have basically pulled out Maharashtra. So you will notice BSNL, which is now thinking of deploying 5G network, has all technologies, 2G, 3G, 4G, and will also have 5G, right? But if you look at other operators' maps, Vodafone Idea has got only 5G, 4G, and 2G. And then we have got Airtel. If you look at Airtel, we have got 2G, 4G. You see 2G, 4G, and 5G. And Reliance, we know, right? Reliance they have no 3G. So all the other service providers except BSNL. So if you go to BSNL's map again, you'll find that BSNL is a museum of technology. It has got all technologies. And mind you, friends, 2G is fine because it has to cater for the lowest quality service, people who do not have lowest category people who do not have disposable income. So they are basically holding handsets which are very cheap, 500 rupees or 1000 rupees. So they actually have to be served with 2G. You can't take away those. But 3G, there is a substantial presence of 3G in BSNL. And they have deployed 3G in a band that they have created a mess of the situation. And let me explain to you that how difficult it will be for BSNL to deploy 5G technologies because of this mess that they have created with 2G, 3G, and 4G in bands where they're supposed to deploy 5G technology, which will be very difficult to dismantle. So the next point is, first point was BSNL didn't have coverage at par with the mobile operators. Second is BSNL doesn't have a very strategic and a visionary outlook of managing their network properly. They have messed their network, and I will explain to you how they have messed their network completely, for which I have to take you through the frequency map. So I will start with 700 megahertz band. Okay. So this is a map I keep showing, to all my viewers. So when I start with 700, you can see BSNL has 700 megahertz, 10 megahertz of, right? And then 800, they have got a very thin, coverage, BSNL. I think if I do a filter on BSNL, so you'll find that BSNL has a very small in Rajasthan, 800. So forget about 800, right? So BSNL doesn't have 800. You can assume that they don't have 800. Now, then we have got 900. So 900 is what BSNL has, BSNL MTNL. So if I take BSNL, where is BSNL? BSNL, and then we have got MTNL. So you'll find that BSNL and MTNL together has got 6.2. This is for GSM. You can't, dismantle this. So this is completely used up for GSM. So 900 is gone. 700 they have deployed 4G, and 900 is gone for GSM. Okay. Then 1800 BSNL doesn't have any coverage. So if I do a if you look at this is 1800, and if I do a filter with BSNL, you will find that there is hardly any there is nothing there in it. So 1800 BSNL does not have, right? And then if I do 2100, the BSNL has a very good coverage, a very good allocation in 2100. So if I do BSNL and then I do MTNL, you will find that they have 10 megahertz in all the circles in 2100, right? Then we have got BSNL in 2500. They have got 20 megahertz in all the circles, though I have not captured in some of them. I have not updated it. 20 megahertz in all the circles, right? And then we have got 3500. BSNL has 70 megahertz here. You see? So what BSNL is doing? BSNL is deploying 4G in 700 megahertz. And they are doing 4G in 2100 megahertz. So 4G 700 is very simple. 10 megahertz they already have, no problems. So they are deploying 4G in 700 megahertz band, and they are doing 4G in 900 is reserved for GSM. So they are doing 4G in 2100 megahertz band. So if you see BSNL and MTNL, so they are 4G in 2100. Now the problem here is the following, friends. 710 megahertz 4G is okay, no problems with that. So they have done 4G. Here you will find that they have a substantial presence of 3G, more than 60k BTSs, and their 4G presence in 2100 megahertz band is roughly around 20k. So you have got a substantial presence of 3G in 2100, and you have got a reasonable presence of 4G in 2100, which basically means that BSNL is intending to use 2100 megahertz band for 4G. So there are two bands now, 700 megahertz 4G, 2100 megahertz 4G. So these two bands will have to take care of 4G, because this is an investment which BSNL will do. And just like other operators who have dismantled one technology, probably BSNL will dismantle 3G in times to come. So they have got 700 4G and 2100 4G, right? 900 is for GSM. They don't have much in 800. They don't have anything in 1800, right? 2500 they have, but they haven't deployed much in 2500. This was a WiMAX band. Now coming to the other point which I wanted to basically talk about is the 3500 megahertz band. Now 3500 megahertz band, if you go and look at 3500 megahertz band, you will see that BSNL has how much? 70 megahertz of spectrum in 35. So this is the 5G band. Now, this 5G band is very high frequency. Now, because it is at a very high frequency, this is a 5G band, then what happens is that there needs to be another band which needs to supplement this band of 5G in order to enhance 5G coverage. So, BSNL will never be able to do standalone 5G, because they will be an LTE carrier, right? Which can be 700 or which can be 2100, and then there will be a 3500. So this 3500 5G is going to be an illusion. Why, friends, it's going to be illusion? Because this is going to provide a coverage with such a small tower density, which is going to be a fraction of, at least, we can say 30% of the premium operator, the market leaders, which is Bharti and Reliance. And Vodafone Idea also will have a very large BTS density. So here, if you look at this 5G is going to be of no use. So BSNL will continue to operate in 700 megahertz and in 2100 megahertz, where they are going to deploy 4G, and those 4G is going to become anchor carrier for BSNL to support 5G. So 5G's coverage is going to be extremely thin because the tower densities are very, very less. And 4G is in 700 megahertz and 2100 megahertz. And 2100 they have 3G also. And since they have already started deploying 4G in 2100, likely that band is going to be 4G, because you can't do mix and match of between 5G and 4G, because this 2100 megahertz band has got only 10 megahertz of spectrum. And if you do both 4G and 5G in 2100 megahertz band, then you will not be able to get any meaningful capacity, because you're going to dissect this two block of spectrum into 50%, 50%, and it's going to destroy this band. So either it has to be completely 4G or completely 5G. Ideally, friends, what I would have liked to have is that BSNL 3500 megahertz 5G, and they should have done 5G in 2100 megahertz band to supplement the coverage of 5G better, and use an anchor carrier which is lower, let's say 700 megahertz, to do a standalone, a non-standalone 5G network. So anchor carrier would have been 700, because you need a 4G anchor carrier if you do non-standalone 5G, and you will be able to enhance your 5G coverage by doing 2100 5G and 3500 5G, which is going to be very unlikely for them to do. So the point here which I wanted to emphasize here, friends, the coverage of BSNL's 5G network is going to be miserable, because they are deploying 4G in 2100. They don't have 1800. 900 is reserved for GSM, and the 700 megahertz, which was a 5G band, they are deploying 4G. So BSNL will not have a 5G network because they don't have spectrum, and their spectrum strategy is completely screwed up. Because of 700, which is a 5G band, they are deploying 4G, and 2100, where they should have deployed 5G in order to create a carrier aggregation with 3500 to enhance the coverage of 3500 megahertz band, they are deploying 4G there. So the 4G is going to be an anchor carrier, but it is not going to help them supplement the 3500 megahertz 5G band, just like Airtel is going to do, because Airtel will have 3500 and they will do 1800 megahertz 5G, and that is going to enhance the coverage of 5G better, because they also don't have 700 megahertz band, right? So BSNL, with lower tower density, with screwed up spectrum strategy, will not be able to provide any meaningful 5G coverage. And they should focus on providing 4G coverage. Now, if they are successful in providing meaningful 4G coverage, so those government employees who will be thinking of switching to BSNL will be conscious about the fact that they will not get 5G, because 3500 with 70 megahertz of spectrum, other operators have 130 megahertz and 100 megahertz. They will not have a meaningful 5G network. It is not going to penetrate inside this office. So only it is going to be 4G network, provided BSNL dismantles their 3G network, which they haven't done today. So they will be continuously relying on the 710 megahertz of 4G, which is not going to give them capacity. And they have screwed up their 2100 megahertz by doing a mixed approach, 3G and 4G. Because they are breaking it up, 5 megahertz of 3G and 5 megahertz of 4G. It is completely screwed up. Neither they have 4G nor 5G. So friends, if you look at from that point of view, BSNL is not equipped to provide any meaningful service, at least as of date, right? And now let's look at briefly about the profitability of BSNL. Now, if you look at profitability, I have done a lot of videos on profitability of BSNL. This quarter, the Q3 quarter, the profitability is on account of negative depreciation, which is unthinkable. So there was a negative depreciation which has created a positive profit here. You see, this 262 crores was because there was a negative depreciation. You see, the depreciation cost of BSNL here has gone down drastically from 1579 crores to 814 crores because they have shown negative depreciation. And then BSNL, which is projecting itself as a mobile company, is now making revenue income from other means selling asset like a property dealer, and they have a income of 1,180 crores, which is added to the revenue for operation to make a profit of 280 crores. Because if this 1,179 was not there, if you look at the other quarter, this is so small, except the FY 22. So this is a one-time profit BSNL has made. So BSNL is behaving as if that is a property dealer. So if it is behaving as a property dealer and it is claiming that it has become profitable, and with the negative depreciation it has shown profitable in Q3, so BSNL is not profitable, because these should have been profitable by their primary business, which is mobile and selling internet and broadband connection. So BSNL is not profitable. BSNL's network capability is very poor. Spectrum management is very poor. Their density of BTS density is extremely poor. If you see, look at this BSNL density. Sorry, not BSNL. Sorry, tower density is very, very poor. So given this situation, now if you come to this, the DOT urges state government to use BSNL MTN for enhanced data security, and then the people are talking about lot of concern that this is not the right thing to do. I'm asking a simple question. Who will take BSNL connection? Right? And if you look at, there is one more thing which I'm going to show you. This is the overall connection. This chart which I have right in front of you is the operator-wise subscriber trends. Now, if you look at operator-wise subscriber trend, you have got absolute market share, market. Reliance Jio 485 million subscriber, Bharti has 400 million subscriber, Vodafone Idea has 205 million subscriber, right? And then BSNL has how much subscriber? BSNL subscriber was actually going up. So if you look at BSNL subscriber, it was going up because of this. Sorry, let me just take this pen. So here is this. So BSNL subscriber going to, then it went down, and then it became stable, and then it went down. So BSNL has got 98.5 million subscribers that they are claiming, and their subscribers is going down. And if you look at the wireline subscribers, if I do wireline, let me just do first rural also. That will also give us a very good understanding. Rural. Now, if I do rural, they have got 32 million subscribers, right, in rural. And then urban, how much subscribers they have? Urban of subscribers they have, BSNL around 66 million, right? So this is the breakup. And then we have got the wireline subscribers. Let me just do all, and then I'll do wireline subscribers. And in wireline subscribers, BSNL actually somehow, it is very strange, you'll find very strange. It had got 6.5 million subscribers and it went to 6 million. And suddenly in one particular month, this is on the month of January, they have suddenly increased their number from 6. Sorry, let me just take my pen again. So if you look at sorry friends. So 6 million to 7.7 million, from where this 1.7 million came in 1 month in February. I don't even trust BSNL numbers. And in one of the video which I did recently, they have shown negative profits in Delhi and Mumbai as per the TRA data of 31st March 2025. So with this, there is a P&L statement where they have recorded profits with 264 because of revenue from other, which is property, as a property dealer. And then we have got negative depreciation Q3. So these two profits are, I don't know from where this government is talking about these two profits. So BSNL is not profitable. With lower tower density, they don't have coverage. And with a screwed up strategy as far as spectrum is concerned. If you look at my chart, spectrum strategy with the 2100 megahertz being used for mixed usage, 3G as well as 4G, and breaking this 10 megahertz into two pieces of 5 megahertz 3G and 5 megahertz 4G. So you will be flopping between these two technologies, and neither you will get 4G nor you will get 5G. So how BSNL will be able to serve the interest of the state government and other government agencies? So this to me looks more like a wish list. There was no need for anybody to worry because BSNL is not even ready to provide a good quality, reliable services for increasing government efficiency. The idea is the government should not be struggling with connectivity, right? If the government struggles with connectivity, our GDP has already gone down to 6.5%. With government efficiency going down further, we are going to literally struggle, friends. So anyway, friends, I hope BSNL becomes successful. I'm not basically doing this video for the purpose of, leveling any kind of judgment on BSNL. These are all facts. You look at this fact. So when you claim that your organization has become profit, you should be claiming on foundational strength, not by managing data, right? So friends, that's all in this video. I hope that you like this video, and thanks for listening till the end. And I'll come back with a new video on a new topic next time. Thank you very much.